Oh, okay. Hey, welcome to another episode of On Point EDC. We have another update for you from the brand Pena knives. Um, as you guys know, probably one of my favorite makers that are out there right now, and his X series line have been really outstanding in terms of offering you a lot of that great custom style, and something that is, essentially a really high-end production knife. Um, so a little bit about Pena knives. A custom knife maker Enrique Peña pioneering the fusion of traditional designs with modern functionality, and the X series was kind of born from the desire to bring a collection of production knives to the market with the highest quality and tolerances like that of his custom offerings, but at a lower price point. These production knives are the perfect union of top tier design and function, and then of course using those high performance steels and materials. This particular type of knife I consider a modern traditional, and then some key common characteristics and design language. You're looking for something within that vein. Of course, that classic feel with a touch of modern functionality, often featuring high-end materials such as titanium, carbon fiber, and blades in modern super steels, which this has all of those things and then some, because it's actually a special edition. This is your Peña X series large Apache front flipper with the fat carbon and Mokuti accents. You can see there on the pivot collar as well as the pocket clip, and then it actually has a hand rubbed satin finish on that M390 blade. So this is more of kind of a full-sized variation of the popular gentleman's carry. So you have seen Apaches on the channel before, and they were kind of the smaller, more diminutive size. This one feels more kind of just like your regular full-size knife. So with that said, let's go ahead, zoom the camera out, get this knife in hand, and take a closer look. All right, now before we pick this piece up, really quick wristwatch check. Damasco DS30. This is the first gen that only had 100 meters of water resistance, but if you were to buy this today, it would have 200 meters of water resistance. Still has a screw down crown, absolutely can do everything from a functional standpoint, but this is the older variation. I did put it on this great Hirsch rubber strap and transferred over the Damasco, the matching buckle there. And the reason why I wore it, because yeah, this is like such an EDC type of watch. It has the hardened steel, it has that matte finish similar to the matte finishes you'll see on a modern kind of titanium frame lock style. And then yeah, it just has a certain look to it, and there's a certain level of kind of luxury within its capabilities versus luxury within ornate details. Here you're seeing a few extra ornate details, but in terms of size comparison, here's my previous Apache here. This is the regular size versus this newer one. So you can see from a size perspective, very similar. This one being just a touch larger. And then in terms of some, also this was a frame lock versus here we're having a bolster lock, but here matching bolster lock style. The knife that started it all, goodness, a little dusty too. Let me give that a quick wipe, because this knife does get carried quite a bit and it picks up pocket lint, as you saw. But check this out, and then here you can actually take a look at the machine kind of belt sanded finish there on the satin, and then here the hand rubbed, much finer quality as you can see, but also very similar silhouette, although this one being more of a full-size knife versus here you're going to see more of kind of that more kind of mini type of carry, not quite micro, but just smaller, more traditional gentleman's size. But on the other side of it is this bad boy. So in terms of the size, you can see now this is a step larger, and this is kind of the middle ground. So if we were to bring this back here, boom. So you can see it's progressively a little bit larger. Of course, the Mula isn't the same design necessarily, but a little bit similar, and of course also a Peña X series knife. And you can see there are going to be certain design language features that stick out. I mean, this one does have a you can open it multiple ways because it's also a front flipper. but also thumb stud. But from size perspective, I did want to share that with you. And then of course, Crane's Cutlery, big shout out to them. That's where I purchased this particular unit from. And they honestly typically are some of the best places if you want not just you know, a good price for a Peña X Series knife, but also availability, because these things sell out so fast. But you know, the team over there are actually quite you know, tight with Enrique, as well as Riot, who makes these particular knives in terms of their factory. So we'll go ahead and pull that off the screen there, and we'll just enjoy this. So some of the details: these cost $388 from Crane's Cutlery while you can get them. By the time of filming this video, I don't recall if they're still available. I might have got one of the last ones. It was a bit of a spur of the moment thing, but I couldn't stop myself from getting, especially in this really special specification. I really love, of course, the bolster lock style, but I was looking forward to something that was just a little bit larger, not quite you know, as utilitarian as the Mula here. You know, definitely something more within the vein of a gentleman's carry, but feeling like a full-fledged, you know, kind of four-finger knife that I could hold, you know, and be great for utility, as well as having some really nice, you know, kind of eye candy touches. Now, Mokuti, some of you are wondering, well, what is that? It's like basically it's Damascus, but instead of using steel, they're using titanium. And then, of course, in the same way that you would treat, you know, typically a Damascus steel, you know, to get some of those different colors and patterns to come out. Here, it's, you know, different levels of kind of anodization, bring out some of the different, you know, tones and whatnot. So really great looking. And man, that satin rub, that hand rubbed finish is really, really beautiful. Just the fine, I mean, especially like, whew, if I was wearing a brushed watch, yeah, I'd say it's very comparable to that kind of finer level of finishing. Man, that thing looks good. And yeah, this is such a great silhouette. I think it's a very handsome knife. It has a great utilitarian look to it, still, because of the blade shape. That kind of reverse Tonto, flat ground. It's really great. And then, you know, the basic specs are kind of that perfect size for me. It's 7 inches overall, 3-inch blade, 4-inch handle, only weighs 2.6 ounces. So not super lightweight, but definitely far from heavy. It's about the right weight for something like this. And the action is a dream. The ergonomics are a dream. The way it looks, the jimping here, guys, along the spine is nice and fine, like you would expect coming out of this factory, and it grabs really well, but not in a way that's gonna like mess your hands up. Also, you get this, they call it fat carbon, which just, you know, it's marbled carbon fiber, but you also are getting a couple of streaks, you can see, of some purple like matter that made it into the actual shreds of carbon fiber that were used, which of course tie into the color. And then you get this great pivot collar for a nice little splash of color. And yeah, I dig it. I don't think it's over the top. I mean, I've definitely seen some kind of man candy knives before that are just that can be a little bit over the top, a little, you know, kind of like an Ed Hardy style, just, you know, too much, trying too hard. And for me, this is a knife that, yeah, it's not trying too hard. It is just really well done, well executed, and it has points of appreciation for those folks that are into stuff like this, that do appreciate that extra mile of, oh man, I have this really great material here, and then there's a little bit of contrast, there's a little bit of that juxtaposition between modern and traditional, and it's fun. So, you know, again, it's more of a, you know, a luxury good, but it actually has a really capable capability to it, to where, yeah, as a cutting tool, it absolutely will do the job. Hey, as a time telling device, this will absolutely do the job. Yeah, also a $30 Timex will do the job, but you know what? I'm rolling with this Damasco made in Germany, with a lot of cool tech that it doesn't need, but I appreciate at the same time. Same thing here. There's a lot of technology in here, whether it be the cage ceramic ball bearings and the pivot for that ultra smooth action, dialing in the detent really nicely. You also do have, of course, a metal, you can see, let's get it to focus. There you go. This screw is actually holding in a piece of steel so that it won't be, hardened steel on titanium. It will be steel on steel, so that's going to help the longevity from that perspective. And yeah, it just works, and it's something that you look for, because sometimes if somebody does any type of carburizing, they might not do it right, so it's easier to have something like this. And if it does wear down, it's replaceable, which is cool. So yeah, in-hand ergonomics, really classic. It feels like a pocket knife, and the pocket clip definitely adds a little extra purchase for you when you're grasping it, because you can just rest your fingers here. There's a little kind of tunnel groove right there, so you can rest your fingers while you are deploying it. You can hook them on. So I mean, that's one of the things about front flippers, is essentially you're not using a closed grasp on it like you would, let's say, for another type of knife, right? Like you could have a little bit more here. There's a lot that essentially is just open, like your hand is facing this direction, and so you open the blade and your hand is way more open than, let's say, here, where you can really be really on it and then flip it out, right? So look at how much points of contact I have when I flip it out that way versus if I was to front flip it. Now all of a sudden it's more open in my hand, and it takes a little bit more effort and coordination, which is fun, right? It helps with that fidget factor. So I do enjoy front flippers. I know they're kind of at least have been a bit of a craze as of late, but I enjoy them. I enjoy the form factor here as well. As it's closed, it looks really great, really clean. You get this little mohawk up top with the jimping. Those pivot collars look great. And it's just a nice little touch, right? And you typically aren't getting that with something with a smaller form factor. You're getting it with something larger. And then here, it's not even contrasting, but it's there in terms of having a pivot collar. But yeah, this thing's handsome, man, and it fits what I like. And in terms of aesthetic, in terms of the choice in materials, the build, the fit and finish, strong snappy detent, great front flipper geometry, works really well with that kind of thumb rollover, lighter strike style, really smooth, especially for such a small blade. I mean, because this blade isn't much bigger than this one, if you guys remember, right? Not much bigger in size. Let me give this one a quick wipe. Also carry this one quite a bit. So, you can see there, it's not actually that much smaller. This guy here, the original. So it just pumps it up just enough to go from something that's more like a really mini, feeling like it's within the vein of a Swiss Army knife, kind of profile, like you'd see here, right? And then making it ascend larger than that into something that feels more like a full size. You can see like that now is a much bigger contrast versus here. And this is really what's fitting in your pocket. So you're getting that nice bit of contrast in terms of the size, and it's not oversized. This isn't a giant, this isn't an XL or anything like that. It's just known as the large Apache. But yeah, for me, it's just a full-size knife, right in line with something like a small Sebenza, or any one of those kind of popular everyday knives. And check out just the fit and finish, the execution. Everything's tidy. There's micro bevels on everything, so there's nothing that feels unfinished or sharp. That shouldn't be sharp, right? The only thing that's sharp is the blade, but all the finishing here is very smooth and contoured, and just there's been a lot of thought that went into this piece. And then when you have it in pocket, of course, quite slim and unobtrusive. It's still very compact. It's not that much thicker than the normal size, as you can see, if any. It might actually be equally as thin, just a little bit longer. So another couple bonus points from there. And then in terms of model variants, you get the large, of course, is the normal, and soon to be released. There's like a mini version coming out that's extra stubby and short. Comparable options. This sits between, you know, again, that normal sized Apache, which because of the camera angle, it might look almost the same size, and something like a Mula if you are looking for something a little bit larger. So this fits kind of within that range. And I think it's a kind of fun sweet spot because honestly, this piece, as much as I enjoy it, it is a little bit large, at least just for my types of carry. You know, I don't really want to wear this with a pair of kind of thin shorts. This is definitely something to wear with pants. So if it would feel like it's kind of weighing it down for that, from that perspective, versus something like this. I mean, it could go anywhere, do anything. And then here, still very similar in silhouette in terms of pocketability. You're just going to get a little bit more purchase in terms of what's going to be in hand, so it's going to be more usable from a utilitarian standpoint. Yeah. So in terms of the bottom line on this one, guys, it's just yet another kind of near perfect X series production release. And this one is just a cool special edition that I dig because it kind of goes with the type of stuff that I like in terms of, you know, special materials and high fit and finish. What else do I have that's kind of similar to this? I think I have a cool, let me see, I think I got a pen here that would be really great to sit next to this, just looking here off camera underneath all my stuff here. Oh, here we go. Yeah, check this out. This is perfect. Bam. On point EDC, right? Tactile turn, black zirconium, and then you do have a similar, you know, Timascus little piece there. Ooh, man. The action's beautiful. Action's beautiful. These guys pair well together. This is like an Instagram shot waiting to happen. So keep an eye out for that. Definitely, if you are only checking out the channel for the knife, stay for the pens. Stay for the watches. Check out the history, the channel history. But we'll close it out on this guy right here. We'll take this piece out. And yeah, there's reviews of all the stuff that I pulled in to frame. So if you want more in-depth reviews on any of those pieces, feel free to check the channel history. All right, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you like the video, please do it like, and if you haven't already, please subscribe for more content just like this. Thanks, guys.